Photos were shared last week of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un visited major weapons factories. Now, that such a visit was publicized is rare, and experts say the latest visit was more than just a tour. For more, we're joined by Mr. Frank Jannuzi this morning. Welcome back to the program.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
So, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un last week inspected key weapons factories, right? Including those producing shells for larger caliber multiple rocket launchers and engines for strategic cruise missiles. Now, what was the purpose, would you say, of Kim's inspections?
Well, not since the Iran-Iraq War of the 1990s has North Korea faced such a favorable market in terms of demand for heavy munitions, multiple rocket launcher ammunition, heavy artillery, small arms, and light weapons. So North Korea clearly would love to try to tap into that market that has been created by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and is clearly exploring and has already begun exports of munitions to Russia in support of the Russian war effort. And I think that what Kim Jong-un is doing here is seizing the opportunity that has presented itself to modernize and upgrade their conventional weapons capabilities, which have frankly languished for decades as the North has invested heavily in ballistic missile technology and nuclear weapons.
So you're saying the North may be trying to secure a solid position in the weapons market globally, right?
They're trying to, despite the UN sanctions, which make such exports illegal, because you have a permanent 5 Security Council member, Russia, willing to do business with North Korea, and because China itself may not always be strict in the enforcement mechanisms to prevent the export of North Korean munitions, North Korea sees an opportunity here. And although the market is relatively small in global scale, we may be talking about hundreds of millions or $1 or $2 billion worth of exports. This is still a reasonably large number with respect to North Korea's total economy, which experts estimate may only be about $40 billion.
Sure. Another notable point during his tour, right? He used the expression, quote, national defense economic work for the very first time, apparently. Now, some experts say the North may be looking to raise foreign currency earnings and revitalize its sluggish economy through its defense industry. Is that so?
Well, I think that is a reasonable conclusion to judge by the statements coming out of the Korean Central News Agency. But I wouldn't want to overemphasize North Korea's ability to use arms exports as part of any general economic modernization. North Korea needs to undertake significant economic reforms if it really wants to get its local economy humming. But what this does afford Kim Jong-un is an opportunity to get cash to continue to finance his investments in nuclear weapons, in ballistic missile technology, as well as to reward his followers and keep the folks in Pyongyang happy. So I think it's an important development, and it represents North Korea essentially wanting to modernize and upgrade its conventional weapons capability and use it as a source of revenue to augment the cyber hacking revenue and other illicit forms of cash that are coming into the regime.
Then, that must be also in line with the recent speculation that North may be providing or already is capable of providing military weapons to Russia for its use against Ukraine, right?
Indeed. What we have seen is that Russia is so short on munitions in a time of intense conflict that Russia needs things like long-range multiple rocket launcher ammunition, long-range artillery ammunition. And even though North Korea's weapons here are quite antiquated, it's not state-of-the-art, but it is sufficient for Russia's purposes. And given the volume of munitions being used, clearly North Korea is an important or becoming an important potential source of supply to Russia. And I would highlight one other area, which is the area of unmanned aerial drones. We've seen Russia use these weapon systems repeatedly in the war against Ukraine, And North Korea recently displayed a variety of new drone technologies. And I think that North Korea would love to develop an export market for those, not just to Russia, but also to Iran and other states.
Looks like a solid win-win situation for the North and Russia at the moment.
A lose-lose for the world and a win-win for Russia, Ukraine.
Definitely. Now, before we let you go, recent satellite imagery shows that the North is actively preparing for its second attempt to launch its very first spy satellite, right? Now, the last launch took place on the last day of May, May 31st. Should we expect the second launch soon? I mean, when should it be?
Well, it's always hard to predict the precise timing, and even things like the weather and the upcoming typhoon may play a factor in North Korea's decision-making. What we know for certain is that North Korea is in a space race. They want to keep up with South Korea, and they desperately would like to develop at least a limited satellite Earth observation technology to enhance their situational awareness, their ability to track South Korean and American military maneuvers. So whether it happens in 2 weeks or 2 months, I can't say, but it'll happen. And the success of it or the failure of it will not deter North Korea from continuing to invest in satellite Earth observation technology. This is a high priority for the government.
Sure, definitely in the hands of the leader, Kim Jong-un. All right, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Very, very nice to have been in Korea a couple weeks ago and nice to speak with you this morning.